People ask me all the time, where did the Love Lockdown project come from? Well, actually, I have been writing in this field for a very, very long time. And I see it as a way of being able to open doors of communication, being able to understand how we all respond in this land of the free, this prison culture that we have created. Based on a novel that I wrote back in 2009, at least that's when it was published, and it was about women in particular who are in relationships with men who are incarcerated. This 50-minute play examines how society has been affected by incarceration, and hopefully it offers remedies through restorative justice principles and peace-building principles that can help us get back on track, if we ever really were on track, actually.
I think people will get a lot out of this. If you haven't been in any of these situations, or if these situations haven't affected you directly, by the end of this program, you will feel how the people feel who have been affected by it. That's how powerful I think it is. It paints the picture for you to see and feel. So that's why I'm glad to be a part of it, to be honest. Ladies, gentlemen, witnesses for the prosecution, welcome to Let's Make a Rotten Deal Out of Your Lives. The game show that teaches you that life in our criminal justice system is a perpetual wheel of misfortune. I never saw anything like this coming through school. I mean, we would have assemblies and we'd have with pep rallies or whatever. But to have a play this impactful in a recreational and educational way, and you combine those two, I think you get a lot of kids who will catch on and benefit from it. So, contestants, here's a very quick reminder of the rules. You have the right to always press your luck if you underestimate the fear factor during the game. You can always buy your way out of this mess if the price is right. They're confused. Now listen, for that you might want to be a millionaire. We get their kind in there all the time, and I would tell you their names, but that isn't really important because they'll have numbers across their chest really soon. Yeah, beautiful.
Love Lockdown Theater Project goes back and it looks at some of those old certitudes, those old attitudes, those old stories, and brings them back in your face and makes you feel better about it. And why? Because it's the truth. The truth may hurt a little bit at the beginning, but it's a good thing. One of the scenes in the play that is really, really important to me is the one that's called Heartbeat.
You've got to be good. You've got to behave.
You've got to be strong. You've got to be brave. Son, I raised you to be God's own.
The mouth and sword of Allah.
The Lion of Judah.
I looked in the cradle and I saw Jesus when you were born.
There is not a mother in the world that thought about her child being incarcerated when she held him as a baby. And I really likened it to the idea of mothers on a slave ship or watching a child being carried away on a slave ship. No mother, when she is cradling that child, thinks that anything like that could happen.
I have to agree. I mean, it definitely makes you step back and realize, oh, these people are incarcerated, but what happens to the people that are outside, that you leave behind? How do they feel? and it definitely gives you that kind of perspective, I feel. Born to lead, born to roar, here in America.
Yeah, America. Where wearing a hoodie can get you stalked, captured, and killed like prey, and wearing a long white hood might get you elected someday. I just feel that it really touches on the mothers who have children in jail and spouses in jail and fathers in jail because they're going through loss even though someone hasn't died. They're just separated from their normal life.
I was always taught that I'm special in my own way, and doing this made me realize that other people don't actually have that experience.
I just think that it's important for some people to know how special they are, because when they don't know if people care about them or if they are loved by anyone, I feel like that allows more area for them to run and find things to fill that void.
It's not just about wives and girlfriends, it's about mothers who have children who are incarcerated. The Love Lockdown Theater Project is a poetic docudrama on American prison culture and the legacy of modern slavery.
The production does not just deal with one aspect, it deals with people who have been touched by somebody being incarcerated. So you could be the child of, you could have a friend who has a brother, and those relationships invoke certain feelings. So yeah, the youth be like, even they have their own stories, and the beauty of this project is that it is a project. So I feel the more that we do it and present it particularly to the younger, to schools and places like that, they'll want to tell their stories. So ultimately it's about sharing.
Step, 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 step.
Beat by beat, I took each one with you from the cradle to the playground, from swing to swing. You toddled like a clumsy fish. Then releasing my hand as you took the hand of friends that walked and talked and looked like you. Son, you are locked up, and I am locked down. And a mother's worst misery. This particular production is really touched home for me. And Heartbeat specifically is like, I can feel it because I live it. As you lie in a stale tomb, you are locked in and I am locked out of your life, out of the future, out of time, out of generations, my swell of creation possibly halted. And we've all experienced loss on some level, so I think all women will be able to relate to not just Heartbeat, but every aspect of the project. But specifically with that, because everybody knows someone or has someone or themselves have been in a situation where they know somebody that's incarcerated or that's been taken away for whatever the reason is. And your heart races, you know, so it's like all of the feelings and emotions that come up with that. I think, yeah, other people, women and men, will be able to relate to that.
I have been able to remember seeing my sons. Yes, I'm a mother of 3 sons and 2 stepsons. So I've been able to really see how they have come through this place as artists and as young men as well. Being able to see how they maneuver through society in the skin that they're in, but also see how society either decides to accept them as who they are and what they are or not.
Growing up in Richmond, Virginia has been interesting. There's a great deal of misunderstanding for the mind of a young black kid who's not always guided with love and affection. I robbed the store because I'm poor, I'm hungry. It was a face like mine that sold those drugs. It was a dark form in the night that pulled that trigger. The usual profile suspect that got me locked up in this cell. But what about the cell that's locked up in me? What about that, Doc? How did it get there? Got me wondering, was I born to be poor, to be evil and disenfranchised? And that's what I gotta get around. Hey, if you wanna study something, study that shit, Doc. Study that. Study that, Doc.
Doctor, the specimen seems quite uncooperative. What do we do now?
Yes, Doctor. I'm sorry we wasted our time.
I felt like my role in the cell was a really good role. It was a truthful role that so many people who get locked up go through. Sometimes you are guilty before you're innocent, you know, if you don't have the money to be innocent. Justice is supposed to be free, but it's not always free. So I feel like the perspective that was shed in the play was a needed one. It was a needed one to free people's mind to the realities of the criminal justice system.
All cells contain hereditary information necessary for regulating cell function and for transmitting information to the next generation of cells.
And that's what I worry about most. It ain't about being in the cell. It's about the cell that lives in me, the cell that was locked up in generations of deprivation coupled with miseducation, leaving me locked up in frustration, planted by a system that I can't control. Well, maybe that ain't so crazy that days and nights turn into months and years of reflection in this place called the cell. Time is a curse and worse. Time is really all I have. And all I can do is pray. Or become prey to the devices that got me here. Ain't nothing holy about that. No, ain't nothing holy about that at all.
Because parents are nurturers, we're always thinking, what could we have done differently? And then we realize it's not just us. Our children have to come through a place where we can't take them all the time.
Good old chaplain says saved, and do I need to be? I know what I've done. I ain't no saint, but you ain't either. Just because I got caught stripping that car and you didn't get caught stealing those people's retirement plans, well, does that make me a criminal?
When we think of incarceration, we're usually talking about people who are locked up. But I'm talking about communities and families and individuals who are locked down. And what does that mean? That's not just the person that is behind the wall, but it's the people who they leave behind, it's families, children, mothers, and fathers who are missing that individual that's now cut out of their lives in one way or another. The project is interactive, and it takes a look at how we love and how we punish and how we prey on each other in this new millennium. I like to think of it as a fresh, powerful, in-your-face performance by 6 very talented actors. And one of the biggest hopes and wishes I have for the Love Lockdown Theater Project is that it will knock down doors, walls, anything that separates us. And we start looking differently at who we are as Americans and kind of decide how we move forward as Americans, especially now in this age when, people are protesting and trying to find out where we fit. It'd be wonderful if we had some actors or artists or change agents come and help us define who this new America looks like.